What is up there, SEO pros? Welcome back. Today we're going to cover the top 10 easy SEO hacks you can use right now. What we're going to be sharing is some stuff that I use, and I'm going to show you a little bit how I do these things. I'll just read off the list so you guys can know what to expect, and then we'll go through how to actually do these things. So the first thing we got is Search Console click-through rate optimization. Let me make this a little bit bigger. We got the Cognitive SEO Content Analyzer for content relevancy and LSI keywords. Buzzsumo Content Analysis through shared content. Just a quick note, by the way, for these things, there are a couple paid tools I'm going to use, like AHREFS, but I tried to make this list as many free things as possible, or as many free tools as possible. Downloading competitor links and what you can actually do with those. Downloading competitor keywords and what you can do with those as well. Getting citations built to your business regardless of whether you're local or national. Creating surveys to use and using Adwords to advertise the surveys, which you can actually basically at some point buy expert content with this method. Creating Google My Business, optimizing it and driving pleper reviews to it, or reviews through pleper links. User intent cross-checking through search results and SEO tools like AHREFS, and I'll show you what that means in a little bit. And then repurpose content via slideshows and using commentary on those things. So if you didn't get any of that in terms of like what I was talking about, no worries. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about right now, step by step. Daniel says, "Hey Chase, what's up, man?" All right, so let's just get right into it. The first thing, like I said, was click-through rate optimization through Search Console. So what you can actually do is you can go over to Search Console, and I'm assuming you have Search Console set up on your website. If you don't, it's pretty easy to do, and if you just YouTube it, I think I actually have a tutorial. If not, somebody else definitely does. It's pretty easy to set up. So once you're in, you're going to go to your website here, and you're going to look at your analytics, your search analytics. You're going to filter usually by 90 days, and I do this in a lot of my tutorials. You guys have probably seen this if you watch some of my on-page optimization tutorials. So what I did, just really quick, is I filtered by 90 days. I went by clicks, impressions, click-throughs, and positions because we want as much data as possible. And what we kind of want to look at is our pages first. So here we can see all of our top performing pages in the last 90 days based off clicks. So if we go and look at, let's say, this one, which has 781 clicks, 58,000 impressions, and an average click-through rate of 1%, 1.33. So that's actually pretty low. So let's click into that. Let's go to queries. And now we can see for this page alone what's showing up, what it's showing up for, and what it's getting clicks for. So you can see for its main keyword, White Hat SEO Techniques 2017, it's got 205 clicks, 737 impressions, and a 27% click-through rate, which is really good. Now, if we go to something like this, SEO Techniques 2017, it's an average position of 8.9 with a 2.4% click-through rate. So the only thing you really have to do to figure out why that has such a low click-through rate is just see the intent on this search versus this search. So let's click on this one first. You can see we're ranking well for this. And the user intent behind this, the reason why you know the user intent is to find these things is because Google's usually not going to rank things if the intent is to find something else, if that makes sense. So if we look into here, all of this looks very similar. Now, if we go over here to this one, I'm guessing it's going to look a little bit different. Now, you can see here, it looks more like on-page, advanced, actionable, effective. So this one looks a little bit more emotional based, if you know what I'm saying. That's of course just a guess, just from looking at it right off the bat. But I'm guessing that if we put something like 100 plus actionable tips, or something where it's a little bit more around advanced or effective, something like that, because that's what it looks like is showing up so far, I'm sure these will probably have higher click-through rates. Now, we don't know what the click-through rates on these other posts are, so we can't really tell. But that guess alone, I'm actually somewhat sure that would actually increase the click-through rates. Another thing that you can do to increase click-through rates is use something called qualifiers. Now, that's exactly what we were talking about right here. Qualifiers are things that people will entice people to click. So instead of it just being the keyword, white hat SEO techniques or SEO techniques, what you would do is you would put some sort of qualifier in here. And usually you put these things in these parentheses. And the reason why you do that is because it's supposed to increase click-through rates. So you would do parentheses. This would be my qualifier, I suppose, 100 plus tips. But we can make that a little bit better. You can see here, their qualifiers are like you can use right now, updated, actionable. So pretty much anything that's going to improve click-through rates in terms of, oh, this is qualifying a post for what they're looking for, if that makes sense. You'll see people most often use qualifiers in actually AdWords. And if you do end up seeing any AdWords, like search engine marketing, like PPC ads, you can see that these people will probably actually have highly relevant ads going for similar things, which you can pretty much take these things and plug them into your own title tags. Because if these advertisers are going to spend a lot of money on these things, then they're likely testing them a lot. The only thing is, because these ads didn't show up to the second page, you can see these are probably more broad match. I would probably only try to copy ads from the first page, which you can see there are really none here. That's, of course, varies on the market and kind of what's going on. But these things I don't think are relevant enough to be taking out of here and putting into our own title tags, because these are sort of not as similar subjects. So that's click-through rate optimization for that through Search Console and some other quick methods. What's up, D-Card? The next thing we're going to cover is over here. So the cognitive SEO content analyzer, we're going to cover that. So if we go over to cognitive.
Is it cool if I post this in your group for the outreach?
Yeah, of course. Okay. So we're going to go sign in. Sorry, my worker just came in. He's actually posting a what's it called? A survey on the Facebook group. And if you guys aren't in the Facebook group, I know I plug this all the time, you can join it by texting the word SEO to 66866, or you can just type in White Hat SEO Network on Facebook and join. So once you're in cognitive SEO, you just go to Keyword Tool and Content Analyzer. So we'll take the same article, we'll take this one right here. And I also use this tool a lot in my tutorials now, mainly because it works really well. So first of all, you're going to take your keyword that you're targeting. And actually, we'll just target SEO techniques. Let's check out the impressions first. You can see SEO techniques has way higher impressions than White Hat SEO techniques. So we want to try to go up higher for that. So we're going to plug in our keyword here. And you guys can't see this, but I'm actually taking a chug from my giant crystal geyser water bottle. I almost want to turn on the camera just so you guys can watch. All right. So these are the related keywords. If we go to ranking analysis, we can see everybody who's ranking for this right now. And so this is kind of the SEO hack. And so this you can use for free. I think there's like 5 scans that you can use before they ask you to sign up. But if you guys want to check this out and check out some of your content, you can definitely do this for free for the first 5 scans. I think it's totally worth it. So here you can see the content performance, and this is based off the LSI keywords. So if you guys don't know what LSI keywords are, it's basically latent semantic indexing, which is the related keywords that Google pulls with your main keywords. So you can see here, this is a description. Latent semantic indexing are basically keywords that are semantically related to your primary keyword. Contrary to popular belief, they are not just synonym or keywords that are just similar meaning. So if you scroll down here, you can see these are semantically indexed keywords, because they're searches related, not just synonyms, if that makes sense. So if we look in here, you can see our score is 94. These are the other scores. Now, even more importantly, we want to look and see what is the average content length that's ranking. So if we go in here, you can see it's somewhere between about 5,000, or we'll say 3,000 to about 12,000. So that's a lot of content in order to rank for this. Chances are, if we make our content even longer, we might even be able to rank higher because we're at about 12,900. If we also look at the page, I think this is I don't know if that's performance or domain performance. I'm not really sure. I know this is based off links, but if we look at this, you can see this is somewhat correlated as well. So one of the cool things about this is because this is tip based, we can actually do outreach to related places, which I cover this in my tutorials through Pitchbox and whatnot, and I will be talking about this a little bit in one of the next tips. But if you guys want to know actually how to generate links and stuff and tips and whatnot to these types of posts, I will be covering that in the SEO Triforcing course, which you can find on my website just by going to chasereiner.com and then going to courses. So that being said, this is really a very streamlined way to get content. A lot of the tips here I got based through outreach, which, like I said, we will be talking about that. And the other cool thing is we can actually relaunch content, which I should have made a tip around that. Might talk about that in a second. Anyways, the cool thing about this is you can also go into content analysis, grab all the content off this page, copy it into here, and then basically get a score on how you're doing, and then find related keywords based off what you're currently doing. So if we go into here, press check score, we got a 94 content performance as we saw. And then you can see these are other things that we can add in there to improve the score as well, and other things that we can elaborate on. The other cool thing is this: if we are doing outreach, we can actually take these keywords and say to the people who might be contributing tips that they could contribute on these subjects, and we would appreciate that. Mainly if they were to say something about one of these things, then we would get automatic keywords that are related through our LSI keywords in our post, just based off them choosing one of these topics. All right, so Cognitive SEO is a great tool. I think if you want to buy it, it's like $80 a month. I'm not really sure on the content analysis. I know that's for like the whole thing. Joe says, Ayo Chase, I noticed those 44 slip tips didn't get any links. What's the next step for that page? How can it possibly rank for such a competitive keyword? 44 slip tips? Oh, sleep tips. So yeah, I mean, that is a very competitive keyword. We're not done with the SEO for Affiliate series, so if you've been following that, you can see in here, if we go here and we go find that page, I'm sure it's probably starting to show up for certain impressions. The problem with these really competitive keywords is they generally take a while to rank, which I will be talking about in the course. And we are definitely going to need to do some link outreach for that. And I think we actually got already a couple links through that link outreach we did. But if we go into here and we go into Search Analytics and we go to Pages, filter by impressions, click-throughs, and positions. Let's see if we can find it on here yet. Oops, go back. Go back. One of the best things to do, though, is to start targeting longer tail variations of keywords in the post, and then as it starts to rank higher, you would then take the more general versions of what you're trying to rank for and then re-optimize for those things. So like, for instance, what we were talking about before, I knew I could rank for White Hat SEO Techniques 2017, which had a search rate, but I knew that I would not be able to rank for SEO techniques in general because that's too competitive. But now that it is showing up somewhat for that keyword, I can re-optimize for that, relaunch it, and then build more links as well to that. So that's why relaunching content is so valuable. So it is a long process, but generally you shouldn't expect to rank really competitive keywords for pages, right off the bat. The beginner fishing tips page literally took months before it ranked. It wasn't even on the first page, but now it is. I think it was like 4 months after we launched the content. So it also really depends on how the overall site's doing as well, whether you're updating, whether you're internal linking, and all that stuff. Trying to find that post just to see if it's pulling any impressions, because Google will start to experiment with showing it for certain things. If we go to blog, and then we go to here, pages, filter pages, and go to here. So we can see here that it is starting to show up for things, but for some reason it's not really showing up for anything around its main keywords, which is really odd because we did include long tail variations of keywords in here. Let's see if it's getting indexed properly. Looks like it is. So I don't know why. There might be not unique content in here because of we got tips from people where this might be on other websites already. So we do want to scan that. So I'm just going to leave a note in there. Actually, let me go into my drive. Sorry for getting a little bit off topic, but that could be a good tip for you guys too, is to always scan your posts when doing outreach, because you might be getting tips from people who are just copying and pasting the content. Let me just put that in there. Look to see if has duplicate content. All right, so we're gonna go back to the tips. So I showed you cognitive SEO, I showed you the Search Console, click-through rate optimization. Next, I'm going to show you the Buzzsumo content and what you can do with that. Oscar says, wait, but we're in 2017. So this is actually something that I sort of coined a term around. It's called stockpile SEO. This would be another tip, actually. This is only supposed to be 10 tips, but I keep remembering other tips. If you guys spend time trying to optimize for things that are a later date and you get user metrics, for instance, you can see right here it says 2018 SEO hacks, which nobody's probably optimizing for right now. Nobody's probably making videos about. But because I'm getting user metrics, by the way, like this video if you guys can, what will happen is it's going to help rank this video higher faster, which means if I get more visits to this video sooner, it seems like this video was the one that, it's almost branded in a way, right? I mean, it's not branded, but you were sort of the one who came out with it first, so it's easier to get the user metrics, which help you rank for things faster, versus trying to make a video around a subject that's already had a bunch of content produced around it later on, and it's harder to get those user metrics. So that's sort of the idea behind that. It's called the stockpile SEO approach. If you guys want to type in stockpile SEO, you can watch a video where I talk about more about how I do this. So Buzzsumo. A lot of the content ideas I get for videos like these ones, I just go to Buzzsumo, I type in a keyword like SEO, and you can pretty much type in whatever you want. The cool thing is if you want to go filter by certain dates, whatever you want to filter by, we'll say in the past month, this is the most shared content around SEO in the past month. So you can see here 10 things that do not directly affect your Google rankings, has 1.5 shares and a bunch of other links. I'm assuming, yes, it's got 31 links. You can do this by links. You can also download the links, and I think you can also see who shared this stuff. But the idea is that if people are willing to share it over here, then if you were to create a video of it or your own blog post sort of targeting things around this subject, you're probably also going to get a lot of shares as well because it already has that social proof. So that's why when I'm doing research for my videos, like for this one, I can go in here and see what would be sort of a good keyword to start targeting based off the the social proof that's already here, and then you can just make it into a video or wherever you want to put it into a blog post. The cool thing though about doing it on video is that if you do it on video, chances are a lot of these, because they're blog posts, they're not also on YouTube, mainly because most people don't really have the time, I don't think, to also put these into YouTube videos. So all you'd have to do is just go into these posts, sort of create your own post, and targeting similar things, maybe your own opinion on it, and then share it for however long you want to share it, and chances are you'll get some good results out of that. I actually just did this with another video. What was it? It was the SEO ranking factors or something for 2018. So I combined the stockpile SEO approach with the 2018, with also the fact that tons of people are sharing stuff around this based off Buzzsumo research, and you can already see in the last couple days, it's already got 450 views, 27 likes, and some comments, versus my other videos which don't get nearly as many interactions, because this is something that people are more interested in seeing based off the research. The other thing is that these are usually keywords because people are optimizing for these keywords on Buzzsumo. Found through Buzzsumo. You can see, because these are all SEO sites, you know that they're usually targeting actual keywords. So if they're targeting keywords on Google, they're also likely to be keywords on YouTube. And the other cool thing is if this shows up well on YouTube, it might also show up in organic and be right next to the post that's ranking but doesn't have a video. So that's pretty much how you can do that, and you can do that around any subject, really. If you're just trying to get into YouTube marketing for anything like Snapchat or whatever, you can use this as a tool to see what's the most shared around this and just create content. There's some other things you can do in here as well, but we're going to skip it for now. Cool. So the next thing is the downloading the competitors' links. So this is something that I personally do when I do link outreach, and like I said, I talk about how to actually do this step by step in the SEO Triforcing course. But say we wanted to go and find one of our competitors like Backlinko, we could just type them into AHREFS, and I'm sorry, but AHREFS is a paid tool, so at least you guys can see how to do this and maybe use it on a different tool if you can't get AHREFS. So you type it in. You actually want to find a page that's doing really well. We can actually cross this with Buzzsumo. So we'll go to Buzzsumo, type in Backlinko, and we'll look for the pages with the most number of links around this. And I think actually we can go by website. Let's see if I can do, .com. So that's all from Backlinko, and if we go by number of links, can I sort? Let's see if I can sort. Oh, here we go. Number of links. So I guess you have to export it before you can do it. But I know this isn't true right here because there's obviously going to be more than 9 links to this post. So what we're going to do is we'll just do it based off shares, I guess. We'll say that we're creating an article similar to Backlinko for YouTube SEO. So what we can do is we can just grab this link here because we saw that it had a ton of social proof. We go into AHREFS like this, and then this will give us all of the backlinks just for this post. You can see there's 460. And then you can export all of these links like this. Now we have all of those links in a CSV, and now you can go to something like Ninja Outreach or Pitchbox, upload the links. It will pull all of the information based off these links, and you can do automated templates to ask people for links. I also show how to angle these things from like how I do the link outreach, because there's different ways you can ask for this that work better than others. The other cool thing is if you can actually outreach for similar Backlinko links based off Backlinko's outreach templates, which if you wanted to do that, you could go to Ninja Outreach, Google Ninja Outreach outreach templates, and I think there's actually one that Backlinko even contributed in here. So you can see here, you can download this, see right here, and you can basically set this up. If you don't know how to use Pitchbox or Ninja Outreach, I also cover this in the SEO Triforcing course, but I did do a review on Ninja Outreach the other day. So actually, I don't talk about Ninja Outreach in the course. I talk about Pitchbox, but if you guys want to see Ninja Outreach, it's just like a cheaper version of Pitchbox. There are a lot of problems with it, but if you guys can't afford Pitchbox, then I would definitely use some sort of outreach software. The other thing is that you can also combine the downloading the competitor links with downloading the competitor keywords. So we just looked at the backlinks, but the first step of this is you'd probably actually want to see the organic keywords that he's ranking for, and then build out content around this. You can see here, these are all the things that this post is ranking for. And then you'd probably want to build out content around this similar to what he's going for, and then also do it based off the user intent. So anytime that you do keyword research, you always want to see what people are actually ranking for before you're gonna just optimize for it. You want to really see if the intent is around what you're going to be making the content for. So that being said, once you build out the content, then you would probably do the link outreach part. But it would be a really good idea to figure out the keywords first, and you can literally just download all of these through something like AHREFS or SEMrush, and then use those as subjects for what you're going to be building your content around. And then all you would have to do after that is pretty much just do whatever you want. You can do outreach. You can do start optimizing it yourself through cognitive. That would probably be the end part. Cool. So this would be tip number. I should have numbered these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is tip number 6, even though we talked about some other ones. So the cool thing about citations is you can get citations to pretty much any site. I got citations to this site, even though it's not really local. But you can use a national site to show up locally, which this combines with our other tip of getting a Google My Business location. So if you guys want to get citations, all you have to do is go into the Facebook group, the White Hat SEO Network, and just post that you want to get citations and tag this guy, Shripad. Or you can just make a comment in the Facebook group and I will tag him for you. The reason why I do that is because I want to let him know that I am getting customers for him, because we kind of trade business with each other. Citations, if you don't know, is basically your name, address, phone number listed on relevant indexing sites like Yelp and other sites that basically show your name, address, phone number on them that are relevant. If you're a local site, you can do this pretty much immediately, and it will help you rank higher locally for sure. Also, like I said, if you are a national site, you can actually get a Google My Business, and it's not going to hurt you because you're just going to show up with basically more stuff in the search results for your brand, like you can see here. And you can also drive reviews to your business, which you can use for schema markup as well. If you guys want to know how to drive these reviews, I also talk about this in the SEO course. But long story short, you would use something called pleper. All right. The next thing that you would want to possibly do is when you're creating your surveys for outreach on tip-based posts, you can actually use Adwords to advertise your video, which I haven't tried this out yet, but you can see here this White Hat Link Building Tips Roundup experiment. I basically posted a Google form asking for tips, which I put into a post. But you can advertise that you're asking for this on AdWords and then actually get tips, which at that point you're basically paying for content from other relevant people, which you can actually in the long run get links from. If you don't know what I'm saying, and I'm sorry to keep plugging this, it's in the course. All right, so the next thing we cover is user intent cross-checking through search results and SEO tools like AHREFS, which we actually pretty much already covered with what we talked about in the other stuff. The last thing is repurposed content via slide commentary. Now this is something that's really cool and works really well. If you go to something like Fiverr, you can get somebody to take any post you'd like and push it into a presentation. So I'll show you an example of the sleep tips posts we made. Obviously, as stated earlier, we're not getting a ton of visits to that post because we're not ranking that well for it yet. But we know that YouTube is usually a less saturated market around what we're trying to rank for. So we took the post, spent about $27 on converting, I think it was like a 10,000 word post or a 5,000 word post into a PDF, which this guy did it all for us. And if we click into it, now all we have to do is just take this and present on what is in here. So we could just say, all right, welcome to the Our Sleep Guide, tips for how to get better sleep on YouTube. You can see here the fundamentals of sleep. We're covering, the first thing would be the amount of sleep needed by an individual varies significantly with age across a person's lifespan. My opinion on this is that this is obvious because when you're older, you have a busier life. So like I don't even know anything really about this subject, but I can pretty much comment on this just based off what my opinion is, and then you can just take this content and just make it into like an hour-long YouTube video, and likely you will probably rank for this. And because this is like slideshow based, people will stick around because when you do slideshows on YouTube, for some reason they work really well. This is exactly what Josh Brzezinski does when he ranks his SEO 2017 videos or 2018. All it is just a bunch of slides that he created, which you could easily make into a blog post and then convert that into this and then just talk about what's in the slides. So that can be done with pretty much any industry, and honestly you could probably do this with stuff that's not even your content but make it into a slideshow, and I don't know if you'd even get in trouble for that because you could just be presenting on what other people are talking about. I don't know. I really don't know because you're repurposing it. So Marco says, will he do citations in EU as well? I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Oscar says, what citations do I need for web design? Do I just hit up your boy? For web design, I mean, he finds all the citations for you, so he finds the most relevant ones. So that's the top 10 easy SEO hacks, well, somewhat easy, that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. As usual, if you like these videos, please make sure to leave a like. And if you'd like to leave a comment on your top SEO hack, just leave it in the comments and let me know. Lastly, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I went into my analytics and saw that over 50% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel. Make sure you do that so that you can get notified when I create more awesome content like this. And press the bell icon next to the subscribe button in the bottom right so you can get notified as well, because you won't actually get notified with just the subscribe button anymore. Anyways, until I see you guys next time, happy SEOing.